So before we get into the video today, I just wanted to talk to you guys a second about a really big benchmark that we hit on this channel. I am now, if you haven't noticed, officially able to get ads on my YouTube videos, which is pretty big. It lets me do a lot of extra things that I necessarily wasn't able to do previously. Making money off of YouTube allows me to purchase more things to do reviews for and stuff like that. So I am very excited because I still have to fund everything else in my normal everyday life. So having a little bit of extra money, even if it's just a little bit from YouTube, to be able to purchase more things to review and stuff like that, I'm very, very happy about it, and it's going to be great. I appreciate everybody who has supported the YouTube along this year and a half that it's been going. It's been an insane ride, and it looks like it's finally going to start getting easier. So I appreciate you guys very much, and let's get into the video for today.
I'm also a big
How's it going, guys? I hope you're doing well. Today is a very exciting video for me personally. So we're going to be taking a look at a product from TechDeck that is apparently actually good. We are going to be taking a look at the Daily Grind 2.0 pack from TechDeck, which, if you are unaware of where the inspiration for this little guy comes from, there was actually a red picnic table that TechDeck had released quite a long time ago. I personally can't remember when this originally came out. It was a part of the Tony Hawk obstacles, but this came out way back when and is still considered one of the best TechDeck obstacles today. And I think TechDeck knew that, and what they wanted to do is just re-up it and make it a little bit better. Now, what's really cool about this is that this is the Pro Series, so this is marketed towards somebody like me. Now, a lot of TechDeck stuff obviously is made for kids, made of plastic, a little bit cheaper materials. This is all metal. It also comes with a bike rack, forgot to mention that, but it's all metal. You have to put it together, and it's a little bit more durable. So I'm really excited to take a look at this. I've seen a bunch of different people say that it's actually good, and I needed to pick one up for myself. I did buy this from Slush Cult, and it was like $50. I know if you can find it on Amazon, when it's in stock on Amazon, it's $40. So go where you please. I always recommend supporting fingerboarding directly, so rather than going to Amazon, I went to Slush Cult. But you gotta do what you gotta do, so no hard feelings there. So I'm going to go ahead and put the camera down on the desk so that I can get this unboxed and start putting it together. And we're just going to test it out. I'm going to see how everything looks durability wise. And then I'm going to get some clips and see how everything is. And then we'll come back to the desk and I'll give you my final synopsis. Just like a normal review. I know it's been a while, so I'm excited to actually get to, review content again. All right, so we're down at the desk. Let's take a look at the box really quickly. This is the TechDeck Pro Series Daily Grind 2.0, advertised as real metal alloy and all of that. This thing is pretty hefty. It's a little thin, but it's because you have to put everything together. Here we have the contents. You've got the red picnic table and then the bike rack. The bike rack I'm very interested on because it looks really tall and very short, so I'm not sure how this one's going to perform, but this thing so far and what I've seen looks like it's going to be pretty sick, so I'm very excited about that. I did cut the tape already, so I'm going to go ahead and just open it. Fingerboarding gear built for pros. That's cool to see. I think as a older fingerboarder, and there's our instruction sheet, looks a little bit like a Lego instruction sheet. As an older fingerboarder, it's nice to see TechDeck actually make things that are quality or just like metal, because TechDeck used to do metal obstacles all the time back when I was younger, but they stopped doing it quite a while ago, and for some reason the quality dropped after that. And I can understand when it comes to pricing. How the heck do I get this thing out of here? Oh, there we go. It's a lot harder nowadays for honestly anybody except somebody who's a young child use TechDeck obstacles. So they have really kind of dwindled over time. So I've got everything unboxed. We've got the two legs for the picnic table. These are decently hefty, and they do already have stoppers on the bottom, which is really great because let me tell you, this will slide all over the place if you don't have stoppers on it. So them including that, and it not just being like this is like, it's cut out into it, and it's actually like rubber, like stuck to it. So I think it's sweet that they actually thought about that beforehand and incorporated it into the design. We've got the tops and both side benches. And then we have the bike rack, which honestly, the bike rack, looking at it now after seeing it in person, this is going to be a lot better than I originally thought. Looking at the way it looks on the box, it looks like it was going to be a lot shorter and not necessarily as good. But this is really tall, which some people might not like. I don't have a problem with it, and it is a decent length, so this should be pretty good. We have both legs for the bike rack. These also have rubber stoppers. And then we've got our screws, and it did come with the very, very nice TechDeck Pro Series tool, which I know a lot of people really like after buying my Pro Series and, you know, never using it again because it was not good. The only thing I find myself actually coming back to and using from that entire thing is the tool. So even though I'm not going to use this on, you know, putting it together, I guess that's kind of like they intend for you to use this to put the thing together. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to use my actual screwdriver that I use to put decks together and stuff. But we got our screws and our tool, and I'm going to go ahead and just shortcut to putting all of this together. So I have the bike rack together. This is actually really nice. Feels really solid. Putting it together was super easy. It's literally just 2 screws, but this actually looks really good. So I'm actually really excited to try this out. And then let's go ahead and put this beast together. So while I am putting this thing together, I kind of had a little bit of a thought that I just wanted to share. And it's honestly, it's just super cool to see TechDeck try and cater to the older demographic of fingerboarding, because not only does it make you feel seen as somebody who is 30 years old and plays with fingerboard. You know, I grew up with TechDeck. TechDeck's the only reason why I know about fingerboarding. So they started this whole thing for a lot of people. So seeing like the give back, you know, even though the Pro Series decks were not good. And I'll be honest, the first version of the Daily Grind Pack wasn't that great. It was just a lot of plastic. There was one rail, but it was really small. It feels good to be seen, and it feels good for them to actually release things that I might actually use. Even if it is just stuff like this, is my expectation for like fingerboarding is decently high. So even if they can't reach my expectations with an actual like setup, releasing obstacles like this every now and then is something I will absolutely take as well. So it's just cool to see. I'm stoked to actually give this a try and get it set up. So far, it's been pretty easy, just screws. This one obviously is a lot more intensive just because of how many screws there are compared to the bike rack, but I'll check in when it's done. So this big red beast is done, and honestly, this thing is pretty insane, even just looking at it. So kind of comparing it to the original red table, you can very clearly see a size difference, which I think is great, because with Pro Series, they're obviously trying to cater to adult fingerboarders and more serious fingerboarders, and this thing is fantastic, but this thing is still very small. And when you're talking about like using this for pretty much anything except grinding on the top, it's not really that possible. If you look at the size, the benches on the new one are almost as big or as high as the middle section of this, which this is something that I'm actually super stoked for, because you can grind the sides and the top. So like if you're looking for like just like a quick or like fun little, you know, bench, you can absolutely use this. And then if you're looking for a little bit more of a challenge where you want to pop up to the top, you can do that too. So I think that this is actually a really, really good scale for a bench, because you have the sides that are completely skatable, and then the top, which is also super skatable, and you could use this as a mani pad and stuff like that. I'm not gonna lie to you, this is probably the most excited for a TechDeck obstacle that I've been since I bought this all those like forever ago. I think this was like maybe 2 years ago, but then before that, I haven't been excited for a TechDeck obstacle since they actually made metal ones. So this is pretty crazy. I want to just rush to skate this. So I'm going to cut to me skating. I'm going to film as many clips on this as I can. And I know I'm kind of like, gushing about this completely, but I am also going to use the bike rack. So I'm going to come back in a little bit after filming some clips and skating this for a little bit and see how it actually fares, because I'm genuinely excited for this. So let's not waste any time. Let's go fingerboard. All right, so we're back at the desk, and let's talk about these two. So it's been about 2 days since I had unboxed these and started to skate them. I've honestly only used both of these for the last 2 days. Anytime I wanted to fingerboard, I skated on these. I really wanted to make sure that I tried them a bunch. And I'll be honest with you, I am kind of taken aback by this. And it's annoying almost, because when you look at TechDeck as a company in 2025, they have a lot of stuff that is very low quality. I mean, besides TechDecks, of course, because you're talking about a toy catered towards kids originally, they don't always have to make every single thing for, adult weirdos like me who like fingerboarding. But you would think that with TechDeck being a brand that's been around since the late 90s, early 2000s, that they would realize that a lot of their demographic has grown up. And if they're still messing around with TechDecks, they're not going to be sticking to just plastic ramps and all of the stuff that, that they sell. And I know that TechDeck is aware of companies like Flatface and Black River and all of those other brands that are out there, because it's just obvious. I mean, how do you not? TechDeck is not the only company that makes fingerboards anymore. So you kind of have to be aware of your area and your marketing, So TechDeck starting this had to have been some kind of, attempt to hedge into the professional fingerboarding market, or else why would they do this? It would just stay as a toy for kids, and they wouldn't, do anything further. What frustrates me the most about this is that both of these are insane quality. I am going to go out on a limb and say that this big red beast is probably the best picnic table I've ever fingerboarded on. And I've fingerboarded on quite a few picnic tables. I have that old red TechDeck one, I have a Black River one, and I've used EMA and stuff like that in passing at events and whatnot. And this is amazing. And it's almost frustrating, because if TechDeck can do stuff like this, even if they charge a little bit more, because like I said earlier, this was $50 from Slush Call, $40 on Amazon, I would still happily pay that for ramps and fingerboarding stuff that is better quality. So it's annoying almost, because this is amazing. And this itself is great too. The only reason why I don't give this as much hype as I am this table, this does have a little bit of a balancing problem. These legs are really wide out, and you would assume that it has a decent balance, but when you're doing things like tail slides or anything like that, it can tip. So it is not immune to tipping. And also, it does slide a little bit. I really wish that those stoppers were just a little bit bigger, or it just went the whole way across and there was a hole to, screw through. But both of them still are fantastic. I love using these just as much as I would any other obstacle. And also, I don't know if it's because of realism being super important to me, but this being metal and the scale that it is, I think that this is the perfect fingerboarding picnic table. The size is great. Being able to skate on the bottoms of the table, the benches, normally, and not have to be skating on something that is infinitesimally small, just like the original one is, you can skate on the benches and have no issues. I think that the benches are just as fun as the top. And then with the top is decently higher, and you get a lot of satisfaction from grinding the top, which, in my opinion, grinding the top of a picnic table is difficult. So it should not be something that is easily done. And you gotta pop decently hard for this, especially switch. I'm not even trying to gush when I say that both of these are hands down the best obstacles TechDeck has ever made. And as for the picnic table, this is probably the best picnic table I have ever used for fingerboarding. And it's kind of nuts that it comes from TechDeck. And that's again where the frustration comes from, because TechDeck, if they have the ability to do stuff like this, they have the ability to make good fingerboards, good wooden fingerboards. Not like that horrible excuse for a professional fingerboard like the first Pro Series was, which I know they did a re-release of it and upgraded some things, so I still need to do a review on that. I'm just waiting for the price to drop, just like how I did with the other one. But nonetheless, it's just crazy that this is so good and it's made by them. Like, I'll be honest with you, as somebody who's been fingerboarding since the early 2000s, for me, TechDeck is completely off of my radar. Even though TechDeck is the entire reason I'm into fingerboarding. It's just I've graduated from the the toy side of fingerboarding, and I'm now using expensive and real ramps made of metal, wood, concrete, what have you. For me, TechDeck is not a brand that I'm ever going to purchase things from, but these kinds of things that they're doing are actually really good. And it, like I said, it's frustrating. So I hope that TechDeck continues to make stuff like this, and not just in small finite quantities like what they have with these Pro Series obstacles and the Pro Series decks. I would love more than anything to see TechDeck doing an actual professional fingerboarding line. And even if it was like limited drops, or if it was priced appropriately but priced a lot more expensive than an actual TechDeck, like if it was quality, I would buy it, because I have a lot of fondness in my heart for TechDecks. Like I said, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. So while I give these a shining, glimmering review and say that these are both must-haves, I err on the side of frustration. The fact that if you are a fan of TechDeck and you purchase these, you might be a little annoyed because of how good they are, because it's really not something that you would expect from TechDeck in 2025. So I don't know. I don't know how to feel. All I know is I love both of these, and I am going to use them all the time. So very odd rant aside, because it was mixed with positive and negative feelings, I think both of these are fantastic, and I absolutely think that you should purchase these. I would check Slush Cult first if you can afford to spend the extra $10 in shipping. If you can't and you need to be as cheap as possible, you can find them on Amazon. I don't think you're going to be able to find them in person literally anywhere, just because of if they're there, they sell fast, and they might just not be there. So I recommend checking Slush Cult or Amazon, and maybe you'll be able to snag one. But I can promise you it's definitely worth it, even paying the extra $10. Something like this, if this was made by a professional fingerboarding company like Flatface or something like that, this is $60, $70. I guarantee you. Like if a Flatface or Black River made an entirely metal picnic table that was to this size, it would probably be close to $70. So even that, considered just this picnic table alone, is worth what I paid. And then you get this decent, overly decent. I'm just not really stoked on how the weight distribution is. The bike rack is still great too. So yeah, I am very stoked. I'm going to be using this a ton, and yeah, it's probably going to be my go-to picnic table from now on. And it's honestly probably just going to sit on my countertop all throughout the week, just for me to sesh at any given point. I thank you guys so much for checking out another review video. It's really cool to go through the collection videos and all of the less review oriented videos that I've been doing, and then finally getting back to doing reviews and stuff like that. I have a couple other reviews that are going to be coming very soon. I have a deck review, and I have some UAG trucks on the way, which are actually getting delivered as I'm filming this video. So I thank you guys so much for watching. I am very stoked to just see what 2025 brings for my YouTube channel, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Thank you so much.